Hello, today on my bench we have a Kenwood TS-480SAT. This is an all-mode transceiver for ham radio, and when I got this in, it had very low output and very distorted audio on the output. And so I went through basically real quick checks and found out that the output transistors are good. I lifted the tabs on them and checked them. Those guys are fine. And I checked on the audio coming into it, and everything was good. And then I remembered that I think I saw something one time on this happening to this radio, and it was on this little board right here. This is a X58-4900 board, which is the preamp for the RF output. So I took this out and I checked it, and what I found was kind of what I expected to find. Is we have these little guys here, which are 2SK 3075s. Let's see if I can get in here on this. It's a little tiny FET. You can get a picture of that. I don't know if you can or not. It's what we're supposed to have is a standard FET, and what we ended up with when I went and tested them, I don't know which one's which here at the moment, but if you test these, you get open on an FET from the one side to the other, and you're supposed to have open from the gate to the other, and this one is shorted. So source and drain look okay, but gate and source are not. It's shorted. And if you see in the picture here, what a good one is supposed to look like and what this other one's supposed to look like. So there's two of them. I took them both off and I ordered a new pair, which is in this little plastic pack. What we're going to do is we're going to put them on. This little board does not unplug exactly. It unsolders from these pins that you can see. Right, let's see, right here, these pins right here are what this board solders back down to, and it has heatsink compound on it that for right there, and it's mashed down with a couple of screws, and it holds it very firmly into place. Unfortunately, that also means that taking this off of here is rather difficult, because this thing is the heat sink, and cleaning up the pads took a fair amount of heat. But we're going to try putting these on, and the way they go on is the heat sink, or the source here, goes across the long pins on one side. If you look at it, it has that big piece going through the middle there. That's the source and also the heat sink, and the other piece, the two fins coming out the side, are gate and drain. So we got to put these back on here and make sure that I get them right. So we'll open up this guy, and according to the diagram here, the little cut-off notch on one side is the tab for the direction. And if I go and look at my board, which would be, let's see, the board would go this way, because there's 4 pins on one, or 5 pins on one side and 4 pins on the other. So it goes this way, and that is oriented this direction right here, and the transistor with its little cut-off side, which you can just barely see, goes up towards this corner up here, and it wow, okay. Let's see if I can get in the picture here. Okay, so this goes right there. Let's see if that's in the picture. Okay. I got to get this thing turned down a little bit because it's not in frame. Okay. There we go. All right. I am buying I bought a new camera. It's just not here yet. So now we got to solder this on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it right at the moment. Get some grunge off of there. There we go. There we go, there's a tack on that one. Just tacking one corner of it. And the other one goes the same direction. And I solder here. Really need a fair amount of heat on a soldering iron, which I have right now. I'm at 740 degrees. Which is pretty high. But because there's that huge heat sink down at the bottom. Alright, so I've got it. I've got the transistors tacked on there. And you can see it. There we go. And now I've got to get the other side. And then we got to worry about the heat sink on the bottom being connected. There's one. There's the other. Are you indeed on there? I'll get a little bit smaller tip here. This one's surrounded by components, which makes it rather difficult. Yeah, there you go. You're on there, I think. Let's give it a check. From here to here. Yep, that's on. And from here to here. Yep, that one's on. Alright, now we got to get the big ones. These are going to take a little more heat. So, because there is a, let's give these a little bit of flux. Not absolutely perfectly centered on there, but it'll be alright. It's not touching anything, that's the whole deal. So we'll solder here. And we'll solder here. Then we'll solder here. And we'll solder here. Okay. Alright, so that basically got them all down there pretty good. Now, man, that gets hot. I mean hot. Alright, so now let's turn on this. Heat gun, and we'll see if we can't get this thing to get up underneath there a little bit. We got this at about 370, 380 degrees. 380. And we'll get this guy. There it went. Okay, that one's down. Let him cool off a little bit. You could see it go when it went. Alright, and now this one. There it went. Okay, so both of them floated into place just like they're supposed to, and boy, is that hot. So we got, if this is a bigger board, I couldn't do that because it would just never take the heat. And I didn't move anything. They're all of the parts are just fine. You can see it. There we go. So they're on there, and they're down to the soldered down to the bottom where the heatsink is. As soon as this thing gets a little less hot, we'll test it. Make sure we didn't short anything out. Alright, so these guys should be together. They are, of course. And then this guy, source, drain, source, gate. Nothing. Source, drain, source, gate. No shorts. No shorts anywhere. Alright, that's what he wanted to see. So, let's put this back in the radio. This thing is still warm. Alright, there we go. Get our little pins straightened out here. They're really kind of hard to get out because you gotta fight really hard with it. Okay. Get some goo. Tell you what, let's get this old goo off of here first. Where is the other screwdriver? You don't want to scratch that up. You just want to clean it up, get the goo off of it. That's why I'm using the fat part of this rag. Okay. And it came out nice and clean. Okay. Don't have to do anything else to it. Let's put a little grease on there. Maybe a little much, but it'll ooze out the sides. Alright, the 5-pin side is over here, so let's put that in there. Trust me, it's not as easy as you would think it would be, because you're working completely blind here. Where's that other one? Oh, it's bent over just the tiniest little bit. Some of these guys. They've got to be really, really close, or you'll never get these in here. Come on. Need a much smaller screwdriver than that. Okay, those guys are in. And those guys are in. Okay, and that's down. And the little parts. That would be one of these. And the other one of these, there's only two of them, and they're not hard to figure out. Tighten him down pretty good. Yep, that's down there. It's down there good. Alright. Now we got to solder the pins back on to this little board. Taking out this little board is best done with a solder sucker with a very fine tip, because these things are really close together. 4 of them are actually ground. These 2 center ones on this 4-pin side are ground, and this one is not. This one is. This one is not. This one is. And this one is not. Alright, so. Looks like we got that down there pretty good. At least. About as good as it gets. Okay. Let's go in here and take a look at it. There it is, right there. Yep, get my direction. So we put our new transistors on, soldered it down. Alright, so let's clean it up just a little bit. Let's give it a little isopropyl alcohol. And a little bit of a toothbrush scrub. There we go. All nice and clean. Dry off the alcohol. Alright, there we go. So it's in there. It's all looks all cleaned up, and everything is back in place. So let's see how we did. Alright, so now that we've got everything put back together again and it's all installed, the new transistors, or the FETs, are installed, we've got to do an alignment to it. Transmit alignment. I checked the receive, it's fine. Everything is good on the receive on this thing, and I'm not even going to bother. However, we got to do a transmitter alignment. Now, how we do this, to start off with, we have to set the final idling current. Now, the way that you do this is you hook an ammeter right here up to the DC input on the whole unit, and you measure the current, which is right there, and you put that into a calculator. So we got 0.98 amps. What you do with that, that's going to be your I1, I guess is what they call it. And then what it says to do is to set this so that this pot over here, this VR1 is minimum, VR2 is center, VR3 is center. Then you take your measurement, and then you go to VR1 and you add 300 milliamps to this in transmit mode. Okay, well, we got 1.14 in transmit mode right now. So 1.14, and to that we have to add 300 milliamps. So we're looking for 1.44 on this. Now you set your microphone down to 0 level so that you don't get any audio by turning VR1 right here, we go to 1.44 amps. There's 1.44. Okay. Now, then from there, you add 600 milliamps to it by turning VR2. Plus 0.600, 2.04 on VR2, which is right here. So we want to turn this up and transmit to 2.04 total. Right there. And then to that, you add another 500 milliamps. So plus 0.500. Whoops. So we got 2.04 plus 0.500. So we want 2.54 by turning number 3 over here. It says plus or minus 20 milliamps, so we're well within range. And then we want to turn our microphone up, so that would be mic volume or mic level. Let's take it about 50%, and we want to listen to it and see how it sounds on sideband. 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2. Okay, it's I can hear it. Kind of overdriving my poor little receiver over here, but I can hear it just fine. So if you don't do this correctly, your sideband is going to sound terrible, and you're going to eat up these expensive guys back here. So don't do that. All right. So we're done with that. That's all we need for that. So we're going to turn this off. Disconnect these guys. Turn it back on. Alright, so that's all we need that meter for right at the moment. Well, for current anyway. Put it on DC volts. Okay. So there's our first step. Very important step. That has to be done. All right, so our next step is to go into the menu on this thing. Now, the way you do this is you turn it off. You hold down the mic and the noise reduction key with 2 fingers, and you turn it on. Now, if you see that right there, that means you didn't put your jumper in. Turn it off. What you need is a little jumper cable, a little piece of jumper wire, or one of these things right here. This is necessary. You have to put that between pins 3 and 6 on the data connector, which is right there, pins 3 and 6. If you don't do that, you are never going to get this thing to go into setup mode. So what you do is you do your memory, mic, or noise reduction, mic, turn it on, click. When it comes up this way with a 0, 0, you got it right. Then you pull this out. that just allows you to get into it. All right, so next step, we go to menu number 18, which says to go to 18, which is the ALC reference. Now, what it says to do there is to set the adjustment value by using the up and down here. Set the adjustment value to 2.6 volts on a voltmeter at point ALC. Now, there's a tab, a little pad in here that you attach to or go on, and you push you key it up, and it wants 2.6 volts. Well, we're on 2.6 volts plus or minus 0.1 volt. Okay, we're good. We're fine. 2.5 to 2.7, it's happy. So the ALC is set correctly. All right, the next thing you do is you turn it up to number 19. So now we're on 19, which is the drive output level. And we have to hook this thing up to a spectrum analyzer, which I do. And let's see if we are drive output on 14.1. Alrighty. So what it's asking for here is I actually don't have a camera on there, but what it's asking for is 3 dB or more of drive to the out of this board over into the other board, and I definitely have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.3 dB. So I've got, yes, I've got my output of this going to the spectrum analyzer. All right. Okay, now that we've done the final idling current test, now what we're going to do is we're going to go right down into the HF power tests. These are very necessary to get this thing working right. They're not hard. You just got to read the manual and get them, do them in order, the way they say to do them. So we're going to do that. The first thing you do is you go to, according to the manual, you go to number 23, which is the power out for USB power out at 5 watts. Now, get this ready. Okay. I'm on that. Why did you just all of a sudden decide not to be good? Okay, so what we want to do here is the HF power out. We want 5.7 watts on antenna 1 in this condition on number 23. We are on number 23, and we key it down, and we got a little over 10 watts, which is too high. So we've got to take it down. So what we do is we take the up and down buttons, we key it up, and we drop it down to about 5.6 watts right there. Okay? Then we go to the next step, which is the 10 watt scale. I do not understand. Okay. Then we go to the next step, which is the 10 watt scale, which is number 22. And we key it up. And we want 10 watts out of this thing by using these buttons. Then we go down to the next one. Remember, going backwards here. We go to the next one, and we want 25 watts. Too high. Hello, come on up. Getting my fingers messed up here. I want about 25, 26 watts. Right there. Then we go down one more, and that'll be the 50 watt scale. So we key it up, and what do we got? Well, we got 100. So we're on 50 watts, so we need for that to come down. Come on down. Needle stuck, I think. A little over 50 watts. And then we got number 19, which is the 100 watt scale. Which is right there. Okay, so we've got those all set up. Now the next thing you do is you go to number 30. Number 30. And you transmit on these. Now, what it says on these is you got to start low. You got to take it up high and then back down before it'll measure. So you start it way up high and it drops all the way down to nothing. And on this one we want 1.8 megs for 100 watts. I don't think my meter's going to handle. That's about it. That's all it'll do. That's all my power supply will do. That's close enough. Then we go to 31. And that's going to be the 3.5 meters on the same way. So we take this up until it goes down. And then we do this until it gets to 100 watts. Then we go to the next one. Take it all the way up. And then down until it goes to 100 watts. Right there. The next one is 7 megahertz. Bring it all the way down or up and bring it up until it hits 100 watts. There it is. The next one is 10 meters or 10 megs. Take it all the way up and there's that one. Now we got 14 megs. Same deal. There's that one. Then we go to 18 megs. Same deal. Okay. Then we go to 21 megahertz. Same. I want to do these quickly because this this thing will get warm. You're putting out 100 watts on all of these. Alright, this is a 24 meg. There we go. 28 meg. There we go. Now, when we get down here after the 28 megs, then we go to menu 56, which is the PGC for 14.1 megahertz. Now, you got to crank it all the way around to 56. Now, this one, you're going for 50 watts plus or minus 2 watts. And you do that by adjusting the same thing here. There's 50 watts for that one. 57. We want 25 watts. .28 or 58. We want 10 watts. .59. We want 5 watts. Come on. Up. Okay, there's 5 watts. And then we do the TGC for the 50 megahertz band, which is on number 40. You have to do these in order. Okay. And we want on this one 100 watts. And we do that by doing okay, that's all she'll take. So that's close. It says 98. So we're close. All right, and then that's on 0. Oh, I see. That's my power supply is at its max. Okay. Sorry about the meter. It's not showing up very well. All right, so the next thing we do is transmit power. We go up to menu 75. Let's see, where is it? There it is. And we want about 98 watts is what it says. And to adjust that, you want VR501 back here in the back. And it's about 98 watts. Okay. All right. Now, the next one is the Alc Meter Point. This is at 52. Yeah, you got to keep going back and forth on these things. 52. Now, what we're looking for is a entry point for the Alc meter, which is down here, and we want 1 dot. One dot. So we need to push the button 1 time, it says. And there's my 1 dot. It came up. That's all I need. So that's that one. And then the zone, the high zone, you want it to be on 53. And you want this thing to go all the way up as far as it'll go to the top of the ALC bar here. One push and there it is. Okay, so that's correct. Now we want FM deviation. Okay, let's see. FM deviation. And this is going, the FM deviation is going to be on 29.1 megahertz. That's what the thing's telling you there, is what frequency this thing's going to put out. It does all this for you. It's really kind of cool. You don't actually have to change anything. So we put that on FM. All right, let's go over here, see if we can get this picture. And I am on 53. Okay, I forgot. I got to go to the next one. FM deviation is on 65. And now we'll go over here. And we're looking for about 4.5, which we've got. We're 4. What does it say? FM deviation, you want 4.3. So let's see if I can get this thing to show. Dead on, or really darn close to 4.3. So the FM deviation wide is good. So then we want, what, 66, which is FM deviation narrow, which should be about 2.15. That's good. It's right where I want it to be. All right. So that takes care of that. A lot of camera moving around. All right, so the next thing we want to set is the carrier point, which is on number, for the carrier point for upper sideband, which is on number 69. 69. And we want to look at our output on the scope. And the output of the scope is supposed to do that little slam together, which it is perfectly. All right, and that's for upper sideband. Then we go to 70. That's for lower sideband, and they're right together. All right. Like I said, you have to do this quick because you're doing this, you're putting out power all the time. So, next, the AM carrier level. What we want to go for is the AM carrier level on number 55. So we back up to number 55. And we want the AM carrier level to be 1 dot or more on the ALC. And we got 1 dot or more in the ALC, as long as it's there. And then the mic input, we want to turn our microphone up. About 50%. At least that's what I went with. And we want to get 80% modulation. Hello. Okay, let's turn the mic up a little bit more so we can get full modulation. That's, okay, so we will make it. Test, 1, 2. Okay. That's close enough. I mean, it will make 80%. At least. With the mic at about 65%. It doesn't tell you exactly what you need there. All right. So the CW carrier level, now, we want to go to 54. Oh. Turn that off. 54. At least it does let you change things in here. So the CW carrier level, it says we want to light up all 6 of the ALC dots. They are +1. There we go. All 6 of the ALC dots are lit up. And now we want to go to carrier suppression for sideband. That is on number 67. 67. Onto the spectrum analyzer. Wow, trying to get this down here. Let's see. Okay. Carrier suppression. We want 50 dB down. And I don't really have a great, but as you can see, I've got this thing on about as high as it'll go. And each one of these dots from the top measurement up here is 10 dB. So I'm going on this line, so I got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I got, wait a minute, 10, 20, 30, 40, okay, 10 up here, 10, 20, 30, 40. That's 50 right there, 50 dB down for carrier suppression, as well as I can measure it. I got to someday I'll get a good spectrum analyzer. All right, so we go to upper sideband and check that too, and it's even better. Okay, it's fine. If you did have to adjust those are right in here. This little pot here and this little pot over here. You adjust those for the minimum. I don't want to mess with them because they're way down now. Okay, our next, I don't have a 150 ohm dummy load. I got to get one of those, but it'll work fine. And the SWR meter, so I can't really set that at this point. I have looked at it though, and I put it into what I know is about a 1.7 to 1, and it came out right. So I'm not going to mess with that either. Okay, so now what you do after you've done all of those, you go to 76, and it says ready, and you hit the up or down button. If it says good in that silly font, then you hit meter, and all of your things are saved. That's how you line one of these things up. So let's see, we're on 14.1. We are on upper sideband. Our microphone, we want at about, I don't know, 60%. Well, let's make it 75%. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's take a listen. A little bit too much. Okay, it sounds beautiful. Hold on. All right, so let's take a listen here. I got to get it down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, test. Test, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Beautiful. That's exactly what it's supposed to sound like. I hope you could hear that. I'll see what I can do when I get into post-production here. All right, so that's how you line one of these things up in transmit. Pretty simple, but a whole lot of steps. And it's all done through the menu control on this that you get to by pressing those two buttons. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.